Joe Bradley, what do you think of that?
Sure, it's a cracking championship draw, isn't it? They're great games in Munster.
I thought there was some great games of holding days in that.
But as we always say, goals will win games.
He hits it! It's over the bar! Oh! Holy Moses!
I believe the Irish personnel working with the UN are listening to the match in Cyprus. Dane and North are kind of fooling them.
But I tell you what, you can forget about Sean Kavanagh as far as he's a man.
You stay on my mind, think about you all the time. Got to get to know you well. If you kiss, then I will tell. You stay on my.
Last March I headed out to Loaf GAA in Belgium at the invite of Alan, who I'd met a year previous when I was out at a teacher STEM workshop in the European Space Agency, and I had a day to spare in Brussels before my flight home, so I met up with him. It was such a success, and it was my first taste of GAA internationally, having done so much work with the near 500 teams globally. My first bit of commentary outside of Ireland also. Nice to follow in the footsteps of some legends like Jerome Quinn, Marty Morrissey, Micheál Murhertig, Mick Dunn, all of whom have called games and actions across the globe. And then soon after I got invites to other spots. Taiwan asked me out to the North Asian Gaelic Games to commentate, but that would have been quite a long trip for a weekend. Then I got a message from Dane, out in Gavle GAA in Sweden, who were guests on Loaf 2 Slice 36. The Kildare man sent word out that the Nordic Championships were on, and so the flights were booked. August came, and away I went. A flight to Stockholm from Dublin, and had a good look at Arlanda airport. It was a good few years since I'd been there. Nice pictures of the famous Swedish in history in the airport, including one of the legendary strikers. No, not that lad. John Guidetti, for those of you who remember him. I can't say enough good things about Dane and the lads up there. I got a WhatsApp with my train ticket and hotel, which was incredibly sound of all the lads. I headed about 200 kilometres further north past Uppsala and into the city of Gavle. The city has over 100,000 people and has been in existence as a named area since the 15th century when the King of Sweden, Christopher of Bavaria in Germany, officially recognised it so. The name Gavle comes from the Old Swedish for riverbank, given the proximity to the Gavlean River. The development of the area was standard for the time, not just in Sweden, but in many places, as it was built around the most important parts: the church, the ruling house and the town hall. Throw in a pub and you would almost have everything an Irish village has. In 1986 the world watched on in horror as the attempted cover-up by the Soviet Union regarding the Chernobyl disaster unfolded, and the reality of radioactive radiation became known. Gavle was actually one of the places that suffered the worst outside of the Soviet Union. It was, remember, the Swedish who first noticed something was wrong and spotted the potential site. Modern day Gavle still continues the trading on the ports, and shipping plays a role in life there, although not near as much in previous centuries. The famous coffee Gevalia is from the city and is widely used in the US and other areas. There aren't a vast number of names in history from Gavle that will be familiar. One that's of interest is Joel Emanuel Haglund, better known as Joe Hill. Joe was born in Gavle but spent much of his life in the States. He was an activist who fought for better working conditions and went on to write songs and cartoons based on the terrible working life in America. In one of his songs he managed to coin the phrase "pie in the sky." In 1914, Hill went to the police with a gunshot wound and said it was all to do with a fight over a woman. Instead, he was tried and executed for the murder of 2 men in the city, a trial which is very much aimed at simply finding someone who could be put away. Hill's execution led to huge outcries globally. Songs, stories and books were penned about him. Bruce Springsteen and even the Dubliners are some of the artists who have used the song Joe Hill in their concerts. So I reached Gavle and met Dane, a super sound lad from Kildare. Over the weekend I would also meet the likes of many a Donegal legend, Paul being the main man, and he would turn out to be the super keeper star of the tournament with great performances and the moment of the weekend on the pitch. More to come there. I headed to the railway bar after checking into the Elite Hotel. The railway bar literally attaches to the platform, while the Elite Hotel was a massive walk away, about 100 metres or so. Beautiful hotel it was too. We had the chats in the pub. Such sound people everywhere. I headed to bed with the Nordic Championships in the morning. An 8 AM pickup from Dane awaited. So, next day, we headed out the road to Gavle FC, a superb, newly built soccer stadium fit for some smaller Premier League teams in England, and would be state of the art in the League of Ireland, outdoing all of the ones here. Gavle are lower division, but have experienced the top league in their long history, even winning spots in the Europa League on the old Fair Play initiative. A few years back, they had one Johan Mjalby, a former Celtic legend, as their coach. The stadium is cool, full seater, big scoreboard, etc. And then I was given the ultimate moment, control of the whole media room. Suddenly, I had control of the PA, the music, the images on the big scoreboard, the mini scoreboard. Dangerous. I went full Father Ted with it. These two turntables I control from the mixing desk here, and this button here, just if you want to flip between records, get a bit of an old jam going. Straight in with Joe Dolan. Images of Westmeath winning the Tailteann Cup on the board. Unbelievable. Of course, I did make it more relevant as we went along, giving shout out to the Gavle GAA and B, to Stockholm and Stockholm Camogie, to Hillerod GAA from Denmark, to Sandviken GAA from up the road. When the games got going, the standard was high. The tackles were tough, the scoring was strong, the passing was swift, the action was end to end. There was some fine scoring from all sides, as the Gavle GAA emerged as the early pace setters, but not without their challengers. The games were lightning quick as both sides went hell for leather in an end-to-end day of 12.5 minutes a half game. Goals galore, points from all angles, and then a couple of major moments of drama. An altercation involving Donegal Paul in goals and another led to a red card for the man who shoved Paul into the goals and had a little snip and a few verbals after. Paul will go on to be the main talking point soon after too, when in the big game against Stockholm, the capital city side were awarded a penalty. Paul, much like Packy Bonner in Italian 90, held the weight of Donegal on his shoulders as he faced his version of Daniel Timofte. But you doubted a 52-year-old Donegal keeper at your peril.
Penalty drama here as Stockholm have a chance to level from the spot, and it's saved by Paul Kane. The Donegal man has saved it. A superb save.
And that was the key moment of the group stage in many ways. Clean sheets in 3 games for the main man, as manager Dane on the sideline saw his Gavle side qualify for the final with a game to spare. And what did that mean? Well, it meant that yours truly, having retired from playing with the Downs GAA 18 years ago in Westmeath, was offered the chance to go on goals. That was my position in soccer when I was younger with Mullingar Athletic. I even had a trial game with Ireland underage, and needless to say, that went. Enough said. To say the international debut in the GAA was terrible would be an understatement. The kickouts were good, as a few lads said to me, although it was probably just to mask the fact that I conceded 7 goals. In my defence, the lads who were meant to be helping me defend did me no favours. Sorry lads, but it was true. When you have 5 of their players coming at you with no help in sight. The main highlight was that the little young lad who came in for them didn't score. I made sure of that anyway. As the teams prepared for the final group games, it was down to the exhibition game in between before the final. Let's have a chat about that game. It involved a mix of men and women, but it's the ladies I want to focus on. They are none other than Stockholm Camogie. At the time of writing this, they are officially the world's newest camogie side, and they can claim that by virtue of having played in a competitive tournament. At the after party night back in Railway, I met with Michelle, the main lady behind it all, a Clare woman and one of the soundest people I've met in a long time. We had the chats about all things Ireland and Sweden and the plans for the team, alongside some of our teammates from the north, Carpenterstown, an area in Dublin that I used to live. They started from nothing, but are determined. They want to do well and are dreaming big. They have their eyes set on the likes of Hawaii hurling and camogie as a destination for a game, and with Michelle at the helm, they seem like the sort of team that will WhatsApp you a photo some morning of them all training on the beach in Honolulu, and I really hope they do. The first ever official team photo was the other day. 20 of them, fully kitted in their Stockholm Gaels jerseys from the lads team, via the incredibly supportive legend and former podcast guest, journalist Philip O'Connor, and the rest of the team. I'm working a little with them to try and get them up and running, so watch this space. During the exhibition game, they showed their skills. Many of them are new to the game, even though some of the girls from back in Ireland, but there is an endeavour to succeed, and how they measure success is entirely on their terms, nobody else's. The final group game, after the exhibition, is worth mentioning. It was for a place in the final against Gavle GAA. It was epic, and it ended in some fashion. Scenes here at the end of the last of the group games, as Hillerod took on Stockholm, the winner getting to the final against Gavle, and with the last kick of the game, it is finished. Hillerod 12, Stockholm 11, a goal, the last kick, giving Hillerod the victory. They were 11-9 behind going into the last couple of seconds. They nearly got a goal before that. Stockholm could have went further ahead. Hillerod take their place in the final against Gavle. So the final will be between the home side Gavle and the visiting Hillerod Wolfe Tones from Denmark, down from the North Zealand region of Denmark and home to the stunning Frederiksborg Castle. And what a final it would be. It was tense and it was tight. There was no quarter given or asked from either side. And so after a whole day of football, we are down to the final two, and it's down to the home side, their A team Gavle, against the visiting Hillerod. Two teams who met in the groups already. That's where the red card was early on, and we're a few minutes into this one, 3 minutes actually into this one here, and so far no score, chance at both ends, fairly physical battle already. Let's see who wins this one, who's going to be the champions. Scores in this one very much at a premium, as both sides set out to keep it as tight as they could. And it's Gavle who take the lead. Beautiful score from their number 6, just trotting back there into defence. Lovely score with the outside of the right foot. 4 minutes gone here, about 8.5 minutes or so to half time, and Hillerod now just trying to clear their lines once again. 1 point to no score here, Gavle lead. After Gavle went ahead, Hillerod responded in kind. And it's Hillerod here now with a chance to go into a 2-1 lead. It was the man who was taking the free there, Iverney number 9, who kicked over an absolute peach of a score from this near side earlier on. He's now opted to take this one off the ground. He's about 25 yards or so out, opts for the chip over the bar, and it's straight over, and Hillerod lead 2-1. 7 minutes gone in the first half. And at the break, it was very, very close. Second half just about to get underway here. 4-3, the home side lead. Benches are up. Crowd, can't really see them down there. They're down there behind all that. 4-3 to score. Second half just underway. Hillerod then managed to give everyone a breather as one of their men went down. But Gavle kept the pace going, particularly with the player of the tournament, Andrew, and it was becoming more and more tense. Gavle 6-5. And Hillerod with a chance here from the 45, but it's gone to the right and wide. There's not long left in this one. It's the home side who are just about hanging on here at the moment. 6-5. Hillerod desperate to get the game back up and running again. Donegal Paul in goals there, but taking his time. I think we're looking for the keep possession here. He's going to go long. He's gone long up the middle. 50-50 ball, and hefty collision between two of the Gavle men there. Play on to the referees. A Hillerod man down as well. Referee says call a halt to that one there. I note all this. Andrew gave me 20 quid to pick him as the player of the tournament. No, but seriously, Jim McGuinness should be bringing him back to the hills of Donegal sometime soon. And so, they had their chances, Gavle, to kill it off, but just couldn't take them. But then, eventually, along came that crucial score. That might be enough for the home side. Gavle have gone 7-5 ahead, and we're taking into the last couple of seconds. They're the tournament for me. That number 4, Andrew, I think is his name, for Gavle. But here come Hillerod again. No, Gavle do very well to get that one out. Time is almost up here. We're nearing the end. And then, the moment they've been waiting for. And there we are, the final whistle goes. Gavle are the champions. The home side have done it on a scoreline of 7-5. It's victory for the home side. Kildare man Dane Barrett has got the victory that he was looking for, and congratulations to them. Great to see it. Gavle GAA are the champions. That was that, a famous victory for a team located north of Stockholm. Gavle were the champions, and that hard work had paid off. For Bonishtor Dane, Paul in goals, Andrew, player of the tournament, Captain Kean, John, and all the lads I met whose names I can't remember, but they were all sound. And all the companies the lads worked for, from Jones Engineering to Winthrop, Microsoft, all of them. And of course, Ludvig. I can't forget Ludvig. I didn't get to meet the man, the myth, the legend, but I feel like I know all about him. And also Carol. As a few of the lads said to me, the Swedish man with the partial Cork accent should be on a county team to model their gear. He's some handsome man, to be fair to him. Wasn't great for the ego standing beside him. And so the celebrations began, and the newly crowned champions Gavle GAA took their trophy with them back to the party in the railway bar, after a few words from Dane and a few others.
Someday we all get together, we'll miss one or two as well. Anyways, I won't do that now, but look, someday we will get a proper game in everyone full team. I think he decided to get from there.
I should also point out that this is the same bar that a few years ago saw some other guests come out, much more high profile than me. Des Cahill, Porrick Joyce, Fergus McFadden, Alan Kearns and some others. They looked like they had some night, to be fair. The lads told me what the bar bill was that night. Enough said there.
I'm reliably informed I'm the first ever sex symbol to appear in the
The crack in the railway bar that night was mighty. I got to chat to quite a few of the boys from Gavle, Stockholm and a few from Hillerod too, all there for the GAA and for the banter. I walked back to the hotel around 1:30 or so. The next day I found out about the crack in Belagan, the pub slash karaoke slash casino place nearby. I also heard about one other great story which I'll fill you in on at the very end. If you're not watching or listening on the YouTube of this, I highly recommend just checking it out when I mention it. Genuinely, it's worth it. The following day I took a wander around Gavle city itself, a lovely quaint sort of place down by the harbour on one end. Having travelled up the coast in Norway before and been to the other Nordic nations, it has all the feel of a traditional Nordic place. And of course, it has its own Irish invasion too, which adds its own character. I found the famous Cheers bar, Javalia, the home of the coffee, and read up a little about the annual Javlabokken, the goat. All in all, I have to say it's the kind of place that has all you would need, while also being situated in an area which opens up so much more of Europe for travel. That evening, I joined the Day 2 club back in Railway. Most are still alive and back on it, while we watched Liverpool and Newcastle and looked back at some of the photos and videos I had from the tournament, including the penalty saved again, and again, and again. Obviously, why wouldn't we? That night I said my farewells to most as Dane decided we should head for one last experience in Belagan, where I missed out the night before. Sunday night in Belagan and the karaoke was in full swing, costumes and dress up as Swedes and others alike took their turns at butchering Shania Twain and more, all in good fun. Myself and Dane chatted all things Westmeath and Kildare, Mullingar and Newbridge, him playing for rival clubs as a kid and marching in parades trying to hide his jersey, his life in Sweden with Kirsten, originally from Portarlington, and Finley, their daughter, and much more. As the night grew we said we'd have a quick go at blackjack before we parted. As if he hadn't done enough for me already, he paid me in, and while his cards weren't falling his way, he watched on as I managed to hit a streak for a while. And that was it. Up a couple of hundred. A total smash and grab and run. Monday I got the train back to Stockholm for the day before flying home that night. It was several years since I'd been in the Swedish capital, so it was nice to wander around for a while. I saw everything from Bastard Burger to the Avicii Experience and the Paradox Museum. And then I texted Michelle from Stockholm Camogie. Next thing I knew, I was on the metro heading out to Medborgarsplattan to see her workplace. And my god, it was something else. Epidemic Sound. One of the biggest royalty-free soundtrack providers in the world, valued at over $1.5 billion. And what a cool setup inside. Michelle showed me around the studios, all state of the art of course. In the canteen area it was like being in Google, only better laid out. And of course, what does every canteen have? A stage. With fenders, drum kits, orange speakers, a piano, lighting system. I didn't have a plectrum, but I had a bash anyway. And so soon after it was back to Orlando Airport, and the adventure of seeing if the radar issue in the UK was going to affect my flight, as I watched on while passengers on the 3 flights near mine got the dreaded message of cancellation. We were lucky, however. We got on. It was later than expected, and as we sat, the pilot, in a very polite way, basically said, "Hurry up, sit down quick, we've 10 minutes to leave or we're stuck here for at least 5 hours. Fastest takeoff ever." And so, while the Swedish journey ended, the memory certainly will last forever. My debut in international GAA, meeting so many sound people, ruining Donegal Paul's clean sheet record for the tournament, work in the media room, the music crack in Stockholm with Michelle, and so much more. I have to say a big thanks to Dane for inviting me over. I was treated literally like royalty. It was quite amazing. And to his lovely wife Kirsten and little Finley, a great little character. To all the lads, to all the teams, Remy for his amazing food, the railway bar and their great Irish chicken dinner, to Belagan for dealing me the right cards at the right time, to Ryanair for not cancelling the flight going over UK airspace on the day the radar system failed, to to Michelle for showing me around Epidemic Sound and giving me the guitar and the piano use as well. And to the lads in Gavle, what brought them all together is the GAA and the work and the craic. To Sweden, Gavle Boo. Oh, and the story I forgot to tell you earlier on. Well, let's just say, don't get a tattoo when you're drunk. And Sandviken is spelled Sandviken. Enough said.
Sure, it's a cracking championship draw, isn't it? They're great games in Munster.
I thought there was some great games of holding day tonight.
But as we always say, goals will win games.
He hits it! It's over the bar! Oh! Holy Moses!
I believe the Irish personnel working with the UN are listening to the match in Cyprus. Dane and Nordic kind of fooling them.
But I tell you what, you can forget about Sean Kavanagh as far as he's a man.